At my niece Lily's 9th birthday party, my sister-in-law laughed in front of everyone and said I was the free babysitter with a laminator. That was the word she used, free. Not helpful, not patient, not even family. Free. She said it while standing beside the activity table I had spent 2 nights putting together, with reading games, sticker charts, and laminated cards sorted by color. The kids were running through my mother-in-law's backyard with frosting on their faces. It should have been one of those normal, noisy family afternoons where nobody remembers every sentence. But I remembered that one. Marissa lifted her paper plate and smiled like she had just made the cutest joke in the world. Honestly, Claire should start charging us, she said. Except then we couldn't afford her. Family discount, right? A few people laughed, not cruelly exactly. It was the polite kind of laugh people use when they do not want to decide whether something was mean. My mother-in-law, Ruth, patted my arm and said, "Claire has always been so good with children." She meant it as a compliment, but somehow it made me feel even smaller. Because nobody said Claire used to teach 2nd grade. Nobody said Claire built that whole reading table. Nobody said Claire has been helping Lily every Tuesday afternoon for 6 months because Lily was starting to hate school. And my husband, Evan, sat right beside me, peeling the paper off a cupcake for our nephew, saying absolutely nothing. That was the part I could not stop noticing. I did not need him to make a speech. 1 sentence would have been enough. Actually, Claire worked really hard on this. Or Marissa, don't say it like that. Or even just, she's not free. But Evan kept his eyes on that cupcake like the frosting required his full attention. So I smiled. That is what women like me learn to do when a room gets uncomfortable. We smile, help clean up, pass out napkins, and later wonder why our chest hurts. I had been out of the classroom for almost 4 years by then. I left after a year that took more out of me than I knew how to admit. Burnout sounds clean when people say it. For me, it looked like sitting in my car after school, trying to convince myself to drive home. So yes, I left. But leaving a classroom did not erase what I knew. It did not erase the years I spent teaching children how to read when they were embarrassed to try. It did not erase the lesson plans, the parent meetings, the little breakthroughs nobody else saw. That was why I helped Lily. Not because I was bored, not because I had nothing better to do, not because I was the family babysitter. Because last winter, Lily had whispered to me that reading made her stomach hurt. I had seen that look before. So I made her a binder, blue tabs for each week, short reading passages, confidence scales, tiny goals, no pressure, no shame, just a way back in. Marissa thanked me at first. Then she started calling it our system. Then the thing we're doing at home. Then slowly she stopped mentioning me at all. I noticed. I just told myself not to. That afternoon, while everyone was still laughing, a woman near the lemonade pitcher turned and looked at me more carefully. Principal Diane Miller. I recognized her from Lily's school newsletter. Principal Miller stepped closer and said, "I'm sorry, did she say Claire?" Marissa's smile tightened. "Yes, my sister-in-law. She helps us with the kids sometimes." Sometimes. I felt that word land too. Principal Miller looked at me. "Claire Whitaker?" I nodded. "That's me." Her expression changed, not dramatically, but enough that I noticed. "Did you used to teach in Westerville?" For the first time all afternoon, the table got quieter. "I did," I said. She tilted her head slightly. "This may sound strange, but did you write a reading support plan with blue tabs? A confidence scale on the front page?" My mouth went dry. Across the patio, Marissa stopped moving. Evan finally looked up. I could have lied. I could have laughed it off. I could have protected the moment, the party, the family, the same way I had protected everyone's comfort for years. Instead, I said, "I wrote something like that a long time ago." Principal Miller glanced toward the activity table, then back at me. "That's interesting," she said quietly, "because I saw almost the same plan last week." And that was the moment I realized this was not just about one birthday party, one careless joke, or one husband who stayed silent. Someone had been using my work. And somehow my name had disappeared. After that birthday party, I tried to tell myself I was overthinking it. That was one of my habits. If something hurt me, my first instinct was to make the feeling smaller and put it somewhere nobody else had to look at. Evan and I lived in a quiet neighborhood outside Columbus, in a 2-story house with a small front porch and a maple tree that dropped leaves into the gutters every fall. Evan left for work around 8, usually forgetting his lunch on the counter. I worked from the little room upstairs that we still called the office.
There were boxes of children's books against one wall, plastic bins of flashcards under the desk, and a laminator on a folding table.
I did freelance curriculum work from home, reading packets for tutoring centers, activity sheets for homeschool groups, lesson plan edits for Taichar teachers. It was not glamorous, but it was work. Still, in Evan's family, working from home seemed to mean available.
Ruth, my mother-in-law, called at least twice a week. "Claire, honey, are you busy Tuesday afternoon?"
That was never really a question. It usually meant Lily needed a ride, Marissa had a meeting, or one of the kids had forgotten a school project due the next morning. I said yes more often than I should have. At first, I told myself that was what family did. They helped, and honestly, I loved Lily. She was funny in a quiet way, the kind of child who noticed when adults changed the subject. She liked purple markers and reading only when nobody called it reading.
The first time she told me books made her stomach hurt, we were sitting at my kitchen table. She was supposed to read a passage about sea turtles. Instead, she pressed her palm flat over the page and whispered, "I'm bad at this." I knew that voice. I had heard it from children who would rather act silly, angry, or tired than admit they were embarrassed. So I made things smaller. Shorter lines, bigger spacing, one goal at a time. No timers, no shame. That was how the blue tab binder started.
Week 1 was confidence. Week 2 was sight words. Week 3 was reading to a stuffed rabbit before reading to a person. I added checkboxes because Lily liked finishing things. I added stickers because she was 9. And on the front page, in small print at the bottom, I put my name out of habit.
Prepared by Claire Whitaker.
Marissa was grateful at first. She texted me pictures of Lily holding up completed pages. She wrote, "You're a lifesaver, and I don't know how you come up with this stuff."
Then the wording changed.
At Sunday dinners, she started saying, "We're doing a reading system at home." Then I made Lily a little binder. Then, you know how I am. Once I decide to fix something, I go all in.
I heard that last sentence while I stood at Ruth's sink washing a casserole dish.
Evan was in the doorway, talking to his brother. He heard it. His eyes flicked toward me for half a second.
But he did not say anything.
That was the way it usually went. Ruth praised Marissa for being such a hands-on mother. Marissa sighed about managing school and activities. Then someone mentioned how lucky the family was to have Claire nearby. Helpful. Good with kids. Available.
Those words sound soft until you hear them enough times. Once, Marissa asked me to send her the editable version of Lily's progress chart. "The one with your name at the bottom looks a little formal," she said. "I want to make it cleaner for Lily's teacher." I almost asked why Lily's teacher needed it.
Instead, I opened my laptop and sent the file. A week before Lily's birthday, Marissa called while I was sorting flashcards. "I need a tiny favor," she said. I looked at the piles around me and laughed. "Tiny according to who?"
"Oh, don't be like that. You're so much better at kid stuff than I am."
There it was again, the compliment with a hook inside. She wanted an activity table for the party, something educational but fun, something that made Lily feel proud of how far she had come. I should have asked if she planned to tell people who made it. I didn't. So I stayed up 2 nights cutting cards, laminating sheets, and sorting everything into blue folders.
When Evan found me at midnight, he kissed the top of my head and said, "You're too good to them."
I looked up at him. "Then maybe say that sometime when they can hear you." He smiled like I had made a joke. And that, more than anything, should have warned me. The drive home from Lily's birthday party was quiet in a way that felt too crowded.
Evan kept both hands on the wheel. I watched the houses pass by, all with neat lawns and porch lights already glowing. There was a paper plate of leftover cupcakes on my lap, the frosting smeared against the plastic wrap.
For 10 minutes, neither of us said anything.
Then Evan sighed.
Marissa shouldn't have said it like that. I turned toward him slowly. "Like what?"
He glanced at me, then back at the road. "You know, the babysitter thing."
"The free babysitter thing," I said.
He winced. "Claire." "No, say the whole sentence."
He did not.
That was answer enough.
A minute later, he said, she was joking. I laughed once, not because it was funny. That's what everyone says when the joke lands exactly where they meant it to. Evan tightened his grip on the steering wheel. I didn't want to make Lily's birthday uncomfortable.
Full who? I asked.
He did not answer.
That silence sat between us all the way home.
When we pulled into the driveway, I carried the cupcakes inside and started wiping down a clean kitchen because my hands needed something to do.
Avon hovered near the doorway.
I'm sorry, he said.
I looked up. For what?
Well, not saying something.
I waited.
And?
He frowned. And what? That was the problem. He thought the silence was the whole injury. He did not understand that the silence was only where the injury became visible.
Later that night, after Evan fell asleep, I went upstairs to the office and turned on the desk lamp. Children's books, blue folders, sticker sheets. The laminator still had plastic film caught near the edge.
That was when my mind started doing what hurt minds do. It collected evidence. First, I thought about the thank you card from Lily's teacher 3 months earlier. Marissa had shown it to everyone at Sunday dinner. The card said Lily had made wonderful progress at home. Ruth had hugged Marissa and said, "See, a mother always knows what her child needs." I remembered standing beside the sink, waiting for someone to mention the Tuesday afternoons Lily spent at my kitchen table. Nobody did. Then I thought about the day Marissa asked for the editable chart. "The one with your name at the bottom looks a little formal," she had said. "I just want it cleaner for Lily's teacher."
At the time, I believed her. I sent it.
The third thing came a few minutes later, a family barbecue in June. Ruth had told a neighbor that Marissa had created a whole little reading program for Lily. I had looked at Evan then. He had heard it. I knew he had, because he gave me that small apologetic smile people give when they hope a moment will pass without requiring courage. It had passed.
Not one of those moments had felt big enough to confront. A thank you card, a missing footer, a sentence at a barbecue. Each one seemed small when it happened, but lined up together, they looked different.
They looked like a pattern. The next morning, my phone buzzed while I was making coffee. Family group text. Ruth had sent pictures from the party, Lily blowing out candles, Marissa beside the activity table. Under one photo, Ruth wrote, "Marissa did such a beautiful job making Lily's day special." Hearts appeared immediately. Then a private text came from Marissa.
"Hey, can you send me the latest version of the Blue Tab pages? Principal Miller loved the concept. Nothing major, just school stuff." I read it twice. Principal Miller loved the concept. Not Lily's teacher, not a quick classroom note. Principal Miller.
I typed, "What school stuff?"
The 3 dots appeared, disappeared, then appeared again. "Oh, just a parent literacy night thing. They asked me to share what we've been doing at home. It's not a big deal." There it was. Not a misunderstanding, not one careless joke, not me being sensitive.
My work had left my house, entered Lily's school, and somehow arrived there wearing Marissa's name.
I set the phone down because my hands were shaking. Then Evan came into the kitchen, still half asleep, and kissed my shoulder.
"Morning," he said. I pointed to the phone. "Your sister is presenting my reading plan at school."
He blinked. Maybe she's just sharing what helped Lily.
I looked at him for a long second.
And for the first time, I felt something colder than hurt. I felt clarity. Because every time his family made me smaller, Evan found a softer word for it.
Joking. Help.
Sharing.
Family. But softer words do not change what is happening.
They only make it easier for everyone else to keep doing it. I did not reply to Marissa that morning. That was the first smart thing I did. The old version of me would have typed something too long, too emotional, something that gave everyone room to call me sensitive. Instead, I put my phone face down and opened my laptop. Then I searched my inbox. Blue Tab binder. Lily reading plan. Edible chart.
Marissa's name appeared again and again. Requests, thank yous, little comments that had felt harmless when they arrived.
Can you make the passages shorter? Can you take your name off the bottom so it looks cleaner?
Can you send the version with the confidence scale?
Each message had a date, Each attachment had a version history.
For a while, I just stared at the screen.
It is a strange feeling seeing your own generosity turn into evidence.
By noon, I had a folder on my desktop labeled Lily Reading Materials. Inside it, I saved the original PDF, the editable files, the email chain, and screenshots of the text where Marissa asked for changes. Then I made a timeline.
I needed to see the truth in order because Evan's family was very good at turning clear things blurry. That afternoon, Principal Miller called. Her voice was careful, professional. "Claire, I hope I'm not putting you in an awkward position." I almost laughed. "I think we're already there."
She paused. Marissa submitted the reading materials for Parent Literacy Night. She described them as a system she developed at home for Lily.
There it was. Not borrowed. Not adapted.
Developed. Principal Miller continued. One of our reading specialists thought the materials looked more structured than a typical parent-made binder. When I saw your name connected to an older workshop file, I wanted to ask before we used anything publicly. I appreciated that. I told her the truth. I had created the original plan years ago, then adapted it for Lily. Marissa had permission to use it for her daughter. She did not have permission to remove my name and present it as her own.
Principal Miller did not gasp. She simply said, "Then we need to credit it correctly, or we should not present it." That calm sentence steadied me.
After the call, I printed everything. Emails, file dates, drafts with my name in the footer. The version Marissa had sent back with the footer gone. Evan found me sitting on the office floor.
"What is all this?" he asked.
I handed him 2 pages. "This is the original. This is the version your sister sent the school."
He looked from one to the other. Slowly, his face changed. "She took your name off."
And she told them she developed it.
That's what the principal said.
He sat down. For once, he did not reach for an easy explanation.
I didn't realize it was this bad, he said.
I looked at him. You realized enough.
That hurt him, but I did not soften it. Evan wanted to call Marissa immediately. I said no.
Not like that, I told him. I am not doing another family argument where everyone decides how much respect I'm allowed to ask for.
So we wrote down what needed to happen. Marissa needed to tell the school the materials were mine. If the school used the plan, my name stayed on it. She had a chance to correct it privately.
Evan called her with me, sitting beside him. At first, Marissa sounded confused, then annoyed. "I never said Claire didn't help," she said. Evan closed his eyes. "Did you remove her name?" Silence. That was the loudest answer she could have given. Finally, she said, "This night is supposed to be about Lily." I leaned toward the phone, then stopped using Lily as a shield. Neither of us spoke for a moment. Then Marissa said coldly, "I'm sorry you feel overlooked." That sentence made my decision easier.
The next morning, I emailed Principal Miller. I attached the timeline, the original files, and a simple note giving the school permission to use the materials if they were credited correctly.
No accusations, no family history, no drama. Just the record.
2 days later, Parent Literacy Night arrived. I went because Principal Miller asked me to. Evan came because he finally understood that showing up after the damage mattered less than standing there while it was corrected.
Marissa stood near the front of the school library, smiling too brightly.
Principal Miller welcomed everyone, then held up the blue tab binder.
This reading support plan, she said, was originally created by Claire Whitaker, a former elementary teacher, and adapted for Lily with family support.
The room did not explode.
Nobody clapped like a movie.
But Marissa's smile froze.
And for the first time in months, my name stayed where I had put it. The strange thing about being proven right is that it does not always feel good.
After Principal Miller said my name, the room simply moved on because that is what rooms do. Parents asked polite questions. Teachers passed out handouts. Lily showed another girl how the sticker chart worked. Nobody applauded. Nobody pointed at Marissa and called her a liar.
Real life is quieter than that.
Marissa stayed near the back table, smiling with a face that had gone stiff around the eyes. When the event ended, she walked past me without saying goodbye. Ruth followed her, holding her purse against her chest like someone had stolen something from her instead of me.
Avon and I drove home in silence.
This time, the silence felt different. It was not the old silence, the one where he hoped the problem would disappear. This one had weight in it. Shame, maybe. Realization.
When we got home, my phone was already buzzing. Family group chat.
Ruth wrote, "I wish tonight could have been handled with more grace."
A cousin replied with a sad face emoji. Someone else wrote, "Marissa was only trying to help her daughter." I set the phone on the counter and turned it face down. There comes a point when explaining the obvious feels like begging people to respect you. I was done begging. The next few weeks were uncomfortable, not dramatic, just uncomfortable.
The school updated the materials with my name on them. Principal Miller asked if I would lead a small parent workshop later that month. Marissa was still included as Lily's mother, which was right. She had helped her daughter practice. She cared, but she was no longer introduced as the creator of the plan.
That bothered her more than I expected. She did not lose her family. She did not lose her friends. She did not get publicly destroyed. She only lost the version of the story where she looked generous, brilliant, and exhausted while I stayed invisible. A week later, Lily called me from Marissa's phone. "Are you mad at Mom?" she asked. I closed my eyes. That question hurt more than anything Marissa had said. "No, sweetheart," I told her. "Grown-ups just had to fix something that got mixed up." Did I do something wrong? Not even a little bit. And I meant that. Lily had never been the problem. She was the reason I helped. That night, Evan found me on the back porch with a blanket over my knees and tea going cold in my hands. He sat beside me. "I owe you more than sorry," he said. I looked at him, waiting. He took a breath. "When my family made you small, I kept telling myself I was keeping peace. But I wasn't protecting peace. I was protecting myself from an argument." For the first time, he did not sound like a man trying to end a conversation. He sounded like one finally entering it. I nodded. That is what it felt like. I should have said something at the party. And before that, at Sunday dinners, when Mom praised Marissa. When I knew you were the one doing the work. "Yes," I said. He almost smiled. "You're not making this easy." "I'm not trying to." We sat there for a while. Then I told him what different had to look like. No more automatic yes when his family needed childcare. No more free materials passed around without asking me. No more calling disrespect a joke because that made everyone else comfortable. And if his family erased me in front of him, he needed to say something while I was still in the room. He listened, then he said okay. Not perfectly, not dramatically, just okay. A month later, I stood in a small library room with 12 parents and a stack of blue tab folders. My hands shook at first. Then a mother in the front row said her son cried during reading homework, and something in me settled. I knew how to help with that. For the first time in years, I did not feel like a former teacher. I felt like a teacher whose classroom had changed. I still helped Lily, but I stopped letting the family treat my help like a public resource with no owner. That was the lesson I carried from all of it.
Kindness is not the same thing as availability. Love is not the same thing as silence. And if you let people call your work a favor long enough, they may start believing your name was never attached to it.
So now when I give clearly. And when I stay quiet, I make sure it is peace I am choosing, not myself disappearing again.